Team, what's going on? It's a Monday night here, and I'm going to do some Eberron artwork. Normally we do artwork in the mornings, we do game design in the evenings, but my heart wanted me to paint, and well, let's do it then. This is episode 600 of the of production for Crystals of Mabar. It's an adventure for Dungeons and Dragons, 5th edition, using the 2024 rules. It's in the Eberron campaign setting. We're fighting necromancers, demons, and undead in the Carnwood of Carnath on the continent of Corvair. And yeah, sound comes through a-okay. Let's go ahead and drop that volume down out of the way. Let's go ahead and I'm going to do some real quick social media updates, and then we'll get rolling through. I'll be here for a couple hours tonight. If you think today's stuff is cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications of when we are live in the future. We stream Monday through Fridays in the mornings, always doing artwork, and again, usually on Mondays and Thursday nights we do a game design. But tonight I just wanted to paint, so I'm just gonna follow my heart and do what the muse does. Get that out of the way. All my social media posts are done. Let me fix my screen here so you guys can watch along with what it is that we're doing tonight. There we go. If you think this stuff is cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. And, well, hey, what's going on? Here's a bunch of books that I've already created on the DMsGuild. They're chock full of my artwork and my ideas. They all have free previews, so check them out. If you want to support me, buy these books. Follow me on Patreon. And if you want to do stuff for free, like, subscribe, and you could always join my Discord channel and shoot the shit with me. So let's get this up and out of the way here. Drop this down, and let's get back to, here's the book cover that we created. What's up? Yeah, right on, man. It felt, I don't know. I'm building a Spelljammer campaign to playtest Kaiju mecha mechanics in February. So we've been building the campaign and the rules for Kaiju and stuff like that, generally on our Thursday, Monday streams. On Saturdays, we've been doing the color mana system and developing martial powers, and then we're also, of course, doing the artwork for this Eberron adventure. And just the muse is like, why don't you relax on the design stuff and not be so focused on it, because I can't really dive in and commit to making these books until this Eberron adventure is completed. So for me to be able to work on other things, honestly, I'm at a place right now where I'm really, really happy with. Excuse me for a second. Whoop. With where the mecha ideas are, where the mecha mechanics are at, where the kaiju at, they just need to get tested, which is what February is for. I'm really I already know that the color mana system works because I first published it in 2018 on DMsGuild, link down below, and I've been using it in my own campaigns for 7 years now. Yeah, I mean once I started playtesting that, I just kept using it. And all the campaigns that I've been running, I've been using the mana systems that I've developed, and I think they're fantastic. And I ran 2 campaigns from level 1 to 20 using them now, and multiple smaller campaigns like level 3 to 9, 5 to 8, 3 to 6, 16 to 20 is one off. So I've had a lot of experience running around with the martial power system and the color mana system, and of course the changes that we've been proposing in the playtest document will eventually drop into a book format. And speaking of book formats, for those that aren't familiar, this is a PDF adventure that we're creating. That's a digital product. So it's a digital only product as a PDF, which means I can use digital devices as the home device on which to view the document, which means I can make a 16:9 ratio document as a PDF, 12-point font. The document is 16:9 wide, and each column is 16:9 format tall. So it's really, really good to use on any kind of device that you would possibly be using for reference material when you're DMing, on a tablet behind your DM screen at the kitchen table, or as a side monitor, or a separate, I alt tab to get information off of the adventures that I run when I'm running Roll20 on Discord. So it's so I built this book to have that like control panel sort of feel. Like you only have to look at one page at a time to understand what's going on. I mean, these are just monsters here, but I mean, the Caneloth, the description of the Caneloth from the monster manual, it fits in one column. The Blood Golem we made up as a boss fight, but there's a whole bunch of. Hold on, I'm going to blip that out of the way and like. This is another one that I made. Hold on, let's go to here we go. We've got the Ghast, we've got a Ghoul, and we've got an Imp, and these are the stat block. These are the literal stat blocks that we rebuilt using this format that are in the monster manual. There's this negative space here between the stat, like the immunities, the statistics, the top row of the CR, AC, initiative, HP, speed. Then you get your stat block, your skills, and then you have all your traits, and then your actions. And like the Ghoul doesn't take up much space at all down here. The Ghast is a little bit more extensive in what it can do. It's taking up a little bit more space, but again, these are all just from the monster manual, but in this 16:9 format, it all fits. It fits. So like I think this is a great solution. So I'm loving the 16:9 format more and more. I spend time inside of it. So I'm thinking when I start rebuilding books and all the new books I'm going to put out that are only intended to be PDFs, I'm just going to use this. I'm just going to use this format. I love it. I could easily put like a level 1 to 20 character progression here on a bar with all the base stat stuff underneath it. And then have class features down this row, class features down this row, and I'll probably have room for an illustration. And then for subclasses, I could easily fit most barbarian subclasses could fit in one column. If they're particularly complicated, like the Eldritch, like the Battle Master, or like the Rune, or like the Rune, the Runecaster, Runesmith. Like that'd be a 2-column thing. I can't imagine something that would take 3 columns. But this would be a really good format for me to be able to do subclasses for each, so I could have like a class is 1-page spread, and then subclasses could be on individual pages. It would be super easy for me to be able to belt out a shitload of feats and powers on here. The color mana spell list with the name of the spell, the level, concentration, and then white, blue, black, red, green here as a grid. I should probably be able to fit that in one column so we can have like cantrips, 1st level, 2nd level, 3rd level, 4th level, 5th level, 6th level, flips to the next page, 7th level, 8th level, 9th level, and then start on the next list. Like it should be pretty easy to be able to process through that. So I think this is going to be a really good format for us to use moving forward. So anyway, I'm just kind of geeking out a little bit, guys. Don't mind me. Oh, God, I miss the colors. I love color mana so much. Having a way to be able to build the MTG color mana system using the 5e role-playing game engine is just it's so cool. Just absolutely love it. And the martial power system is proving to be really fucking cool. It's it's a lot of variant rules. It's entirely different power system. Well, the power system, if all you do is just use the spell points instead of the ones that are in the 2014 DMG and then use the color conversion, you're done. Like that's all it really takes for you to convert your characters over. That's all you want to do. That's all you have to do. But the book that we've been building, the subclasses and the class reworks are all built around using mana specifically, like knowing that mana is the primary resource engine that your character uses to do cool stuff. We can build the classes and the subclasses around using that mana instead of shoehorning in like free spells and stuff like that to make your like Fey Warlock seem more like Fey by giving them a bunch of teleportation effects, which I love, by the way. It's a cool idea because they have kicker effects, but the way that they like have to give you free spells to be able to realize that is it locks you into that role. But I really think Wizards is low-key admitting, spell slots are too limiting. They're too inflexible as a resource. They're too, I'd say binary, but they go from 1 to 9, right? And they're recognizing being able to spam low-level spells on characters is good, but they don't have a mechanism that allows you to do that without eating your 3rd and 4th level budget. So they started creating subclasses that gave you a bunch of free uses of key spells that are signature to the subclass that you take. You get these spells for free, and when you cast them for free, you get these kicker effects. But with a mana system in place, it can be you get these spells for free, and when you cast them, if you spend extra mana, you can do A, B, C, and D, not like A or B or A and C or C and E. It's like, no, you can just, the more mana you dump into it, the more shit you can do. And that's a really fun design because as you ramp up in levels, you get a larger and larger mana pool. So it's easier and easier for you to spam those low levels that we're seeing Wizards admitting that we should allow you to be able to do. But instead of rolling over into spell slots, instead of rolling into spell points as the default system, they preserved tradition and kept the spell slots and figured out that, well, if we have to keep spell slots, then we can just give you free spells. So it's a good solution for the constraints that they've chosen for themselves. But having said all of that, and with love, I say spell points are so much cooler. And it's so much more flexible system, and it's so much more intuitive to people that grew up on video games with mana bars. It's just, if you're trying to cater to the audience, how about you cater to like the mentality of them and what's the most intuitive things to do? 5e is such a great game engine, and Wizards has so many resources available to them. It's a shame that they're not willing to do more experimental stuff just for the love of the art. And that's the problem with companies that are owned by publicly traded companies. They aren't into it for the art. They're into it for the money. And whatever solution is going to give them the largest bottom line, they are obligated to do by contract of being a publicly traded company. And that's a real stinger, in my opinion. It hurts. It hurts. I don't think corporations should ever be in charge of creative endeavors, video games included. But that's my rant. So, cheers to the rant. Yeah, we're just messing around inside. I'm going to switch to this cloud brush for a little bit just to get some blend going on inside here. And let's go on like this. It is episode 600 of this production stream of working on Eberron. So 5 days a week for 120 weeks. That's how long. That is how long I've been working on this. Literally. We actually started back in 2022, I think. But we took a year play testing and running the adventure and building the adventure and settling on what the maps should be like. And then we built out, and then it took another 9 months to actually write the book out the way that we wanted so that it maximized all the different types of options that are available and how to sequence them together to make it something with a high replayability. It was one of the major goals of this adventure is to offer multiple plot hooks, multiple objectives, and various ways to resolve like different dungeons and challenges that the team could opt into or ignore. So it has multiple paths that lead through the adventure to the conclusion, and multiple dungeons to actually physically traverse through. And you don't necessarily need to do. There's three major gatekeeping dungeons. And you only need to do one of them. But you could logically move from one to the second to the third, but you'll never do all of any one. If you go to others, it means that you haven't fully completed any one of them. See, the natural path through each of the dungeons is to take you from the surface into the final underground dungeon as a gauntlet or challenges to get to the final dungeon to then fight the final boss inside of the dungeon. But so the logical path through each dungeon is to get you underground. So if you actually follow through an entire dungeon, you'll reach the destination. You don't have any reason to go to the other 2 dungeons. But if you get in a little bit, just shallow, and you don't fully explore all 3 of the dungeons, there's opportunities for you to leave the dungeon to go to other dungeons to explore those instead. Depending on who you meet and what information they give you, you'll be like, oh, I'm glad we came to the dungeon. We found you. You can now lead us to this other dungeon that'll get us underground. Not even aware that this dungeon will actually get you to where your destination is supposed to be, but you haven't delved deep enough to find that. Instead, you were presented an alternate path that would lead you to a completely different environment. So you can pull the team around and let them decide which lead do they want to follow, and that will take them to different depths of the dungeons to get to the final dungeon, which also has 3 different paths that will take you through the dungeon at different entrances to get to the final boss fight. But they all intersect each other, so you can weave back and forth just exploring the dungeon, dealing with different factions that are inside of it that are all working towards a goal of basically mining and harvesting this region of magical crystals. So it's interesting. It's a lot of fun the way that it moves around, and so it was designed to be circular, and to have these many different paths and many different plots with many different objectives and goals that makes each plot hook unique from other. And we provide all the guidance on following through on that, with the thought that if paid DMing is a thing, like hiring a DM to run for you, then that DM, I know some hired DMs, and they like having adventures that they can use over and over again, because the more familiar they are with the adventure, the better a production they can put on to earn the dollars that they're getting. But they can get bored of it. So having an adventure that can run multiple different ways or drop in and out material as you want is a very valuable professional DM adventure to run, or I guess professional adventure to run. And that's why Curse of Strahd is so popular, because it's essentially a giant hex crawl. And there's the main boss, Strahd, that you'll eventually have to kill, and he comes by and taunts you on various missions occasionally. But it's built for side quests. It's basically a series of side quests that gets you more and more involved in the Barovia environment until you're strong enough and you've accumulated enough hate for Strahd to go kill him. And then you go approach the castle, you kill him, and then, end of the adventure or campaign. It's like a level 1 to 12 campaign, something like that. We're currently level 7 in the Curse of. I've never ran Curse of Strahd. I've never read it, but I'm currently playing in it, and I am a 7th level sorcerer right now, and it is absolutely a blast. But yeah, the reason why Curse of Strahd is so popular as a professional adventure for paid DMs is because of the replayability. Like, whatever the team builds, I can select this different cadre of adventures inside of Barovia that the teams can go run around after, that are going to be a better alignment for the vibe of the team or the classes they chose, or blah, blah, blah. And that variety allows the professional DM to not get tired of running the adventure. So if we're providing an adventure toolkit here that allows you to insert different types of plot hooks with different rewards that can be tangented into different directions with different factions in and out of the adventure, that has high replayability for the target audience, professional DMs. So it took a long time for us to be able to build the thing out, so that it had those variable options built in and be logically sound and be self-reinforcing, and to build out the logic of how to present it. I'm really, really pleased with how this adventure is structured. Incredibly pleased with it. I will be very proud when it is published. But it's a lot of work. So that's a lot of technical, like like DM guidance, like a whole like 20 pages on, hey, here's how to fuck around with the adventure, and provide a bunch of formula and basically toolkit to be able to mess around with the structure of the adventure, and like point out like this is how these things can blend together. These are things that you can look out for. Blah blah blah. It's like Appendix C. It's like 20 pages long. But the adventure is the adventure has a default structure where you're deputized to look into reports of missing people, and around the Carnwood that could mean, you know, evil spirits or something bad from the forest could have come out and snatched people. So even though it's more likely that they just decided to leave a bum town, there's been multiple reports about multiple missing people. So the sheriff can't really ignore it because it could actually be like a skinwalker or some shit. We got to send somebody out there and try to make sure it's not you know, the new evil born, and go deal with it. So you get deputized, you're given badges and the authority to ask questions or shoot first if you need to. And you're totally within your legal bounds to do that. You are the law in this adventure. So you can ask anyone, go anywhere, and anyone that opposes you becomes basically impeding investigations. So that gives you, by default, you can decide to engage almost any sentient individual in the adventure with social or exploration type encounters instead of having to fight them. The mindless undead, of course, you're going to have to fight those or run like hell. But there's various factions of intelligent groups that will have different pieces of information or can help you in different ways if you do. So if you have a very Scooby-Doo exploration social type team that doesn't throw hands very often, then there's a lot in here for the people to run around and get into conversations about, and, you know, just get involved. And the end of the adventure rewards you the more deep and depth you get with these different factions, that you can expand your allegiance with them if it's part of an ongoing campaign. But there's also a lot of incredibly difficult combat challenges that arise if you have a team that wants to throw hands all the time. So you can chain together dozens of encounters throughout this adventure, and they can be incredibly difficult. So it covers a lot of angles. I'm really, really proud of that. This is far enough into the mass. I don't think I want to have large openings. I think I need to smooth that in. Yeah, I'm low key burned out on creation. I've been pumping out a lot of content, and it's all being bottlenecked behind the completion of this adventure. I am going to have an explosion of activity once this is done, and I am looking forward to the gear shifting very much. But it's being this adventure has taken a lot longer than I thought it was going to. So the amount of backed up work that is sitting behind it is becoming impressive. Like, it is an impressive stack of stuff that's probably going to take me 2 years to finish at this point. So I'm feeling the tension of, this is something that you've been working on for a long time, and it's getting to the point where you need to move on to the next step of production. They're getting there. They're not quite there, but they're getting there. And they're getting there to the point where I'm feeling like, I just want to get this Eberron adventure done, so it can finally be done, and I can, revel in the appreciation of having completed another project. But it'll also free up all this creative space in me to be able to actually work on these other books. So it becomes a strain. It's an emotional strain of basically teasing out this production pipeline, this new line of creativity that is like, in a couple of months I'll be done with this adventure and on the way to building new things. So I think I'm kind of cocooning right now and backing off those other projects a little bit. And I might be working on this in the evenings for a little while. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to shake out. I can just feel the change, and the change wants me to back off some of the book production the design work, the editing, the back end, the book stuff that I've been doing on Mondays and Thursdays and Saturdays. My system's saying slow down, back off, and keep working on this Eberron adventure. So that might be what I'm doing specifically for the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'm not 100% sure. I'd like to get a Strixhaven game going. I'm ready to go with playtesting Strixhaven Mage Tower. So I think I'm going to maybe there, we'll do that. Let's just add that mass up there. Yeah, that feels pretty good for now. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just do artwork on Mondays and Thursday nights for a while, but also put like a 2-hour block of Mage Tower in on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. That might not be a bad idea. So I could run a Mage Tower game from like 6 till 8 on Mondays and Thursdays without much difficulty, and then switch gears and jump on and do some artwork, like from 8 till 10. So that's plausible, and I think a match of Mage Tower will take an hour to run the entire game. So we could potentially have 2 matches a night, or just 1 match and some cooldown, or I don't know. But I think what I need to do is start getting serious about trying to recruit people to play test that with me on my Discord, because it uses it's supposed to use the color mana system and the martial power system that we've been developed to create color mana athletes for the Strixhaven setting, since it's Magic the Gathering. But I'll need to figure out if I can recruit people. I might have to go to, I don't know, like a playtest server or something, or hire people. I don't know. Hopefully, I'll be able to find people that are willing to play. I'll probably post something on Reddit this week and see if I can pull people and get something going after Thanksgiving. I like this song. And then I could do that through December into January, and then just focus my stream activity on. I could probably do Monday and Thursday night continuing artwork and production for Eberron, and then Saturday recap and update the Mage Tower mechanics based on how the matches went. That might be a lot of fun. That might be how we have things happen. Let me get this smudged in here. And then the Mecha Kaiju campaign, that's going to fire up in the first week of February. So I'll be probably right after Thanksgiving, I'll start recruiting for that. The next time we do Spelljammer design stream, will build more kaiju, but if you catch the last, was it the last episode? Maybe it was the episode before that. Probably 2 episodes ago, we made the Cloaker and the Dark Mantle kaiju. The Dark Mantles, instead of being 3 feet in size or 30 feet in size, the Cloaker, instead of being 10 feet size large, it's 50 feet size kaiju. And the damage that they output should be dangerous but survivable for the characters at 5th level in 20-foot mecha. And we've been developing the communities using the Bastion mechanics that we've been developing here on stream. That is going to be super fun to play with. I'm recognizing as I've been going through the building the communities on stream here with you guys. I'm noticing how you can detail a cobbler shop, the neighborhood that the shop is in, as well as like the cobbler guild. Those can also be like the cobbler shop can be organized as a bastion. The cobbler guild that the cobbler shop belongs to can be organized as a bastion. The neighborhood where the cobbler shop is in can be like a borough, right? That can be organized, structured as a bastion. The town that the neighborhood is in can be structured as a bastion, as can the nation in which that city is inside of, and then all of the churches in that city, and all of the wizard guilds in that city, and like mercenary guilds. These can all be expressed as different types of bastion at different scopes of power. But they all have these complications that arise on a weekly basis. So as we've been going through this adventure, building out like the communities and the dynamics and the geopolitics of the asteroid belt, as we've been developing all that stuff, I'm noticing more and more how much there can be. Like there is no limit in the scope that we could potentially be looking at there, because a little cobbler shop is going to be attempting something like either growing in size or completing a particularly complicated order or establishing resources like from a new provider, but they all can trigger complications. So the further down the rabbit hole you go in any particular community towards like the community as a whole, the boroughs, the individual shops that exist inside of those boroughs, the further down you go, the more plot hooks emerge. There's literally an endless supply of plot hooks and adventures of the week that get manifested from structuring the game this way. And so right now I'm trying to, we're allowing, the idea for the campaign is to have both mecha kaiju combat, to play test the mecha kaiju stuff, but to also have the players disembark and actually do 5-foot scale adventuring stuff, like going into dungeons or chasing down criminals in the cities or clearing out a night hag, stealing children or whatever it is that we find at the local, like at the 5-foot scale of a normal campaign in these asteroid communities. And then we pan out, we're looking at the mecha, the mecha Spelljammer aspect of it, of there's kaiju out there that are going to come through and try to eat the community, so we have to defend them with our mecha and our Spelljammer ships. And then there's like pirates and there's enemy nations, and so there can be fleet battles and squadron combat, swarms of 50-foot bats fighting against your fleet of 20 fighter ships. So there's a lot of scale that we can pan in and out in scope. But I'm trying to figure out, like maybe only worry about like a conflict, like the whole, like there's 5 towns in this cluster of asteroid communities that the team oversees. We don't have a name for it yet. We need to come up with a name with it. But there's 5 different asteroids that have populations on them doing their own things. They're all their own bastion. Each asteroid is effectively its own bastion, which has its own individual complications. And then there's events and complications that affects the cluster as a whole. So I'm trying to figure out what is the scale that I want to operate at when I'm introducing challenges of the week. Which are the ones that we want the team to prioritize. So I think what I'll probably do initially is just introduce cluster-wide problems, like all the clusterfucks, as it were. Pardon the pun. That's my 20-minute timer. Time to take a sip of water. And then I think as the campaign goes on, and if the players take interest in specific asteroid communities, then we can start introducing complications as adventures for whichever communities are taking an active interest in towards improving. I think that might be a good way of going about it initially. So we're not going to create any like the Dwarven Citadel that the team uses as their carrier ship is also its own bastion, using the same mechanics, just at a different scale. So usually you would have a complication that could arise. But I think what we're going to do instead is make the ship. I mean, you're basically the sheriffs of this community. So I think instead of creating individual complications for your spelljamming ship as a bastion, I think I'm just going to leave it at the cluster scale, and and assuming that your carrier, your paramilitary organization acting as law enforcement for this community is going to be the ones that are going to be resolving problems. So that keeps it simple at first until the team gets the hang of, gets the vibe of how the system works and how it rolls and if they enjoy it. And then they can start delving deeper into any particular community that they want to elevate if they choose. And then we'll start prioritizing that community as their focus and then distracting them from their personal goals with community problems that are the clusterfuck that's affecting the entire community, the entire cluster of communities, like pirates or weather system changes or whatever, something, blah, blah, blah. I think that'll keep the scope simple enough. There. That feels pretty good. Let's keep moving. Curve that down. I had a fire going, it's gone out. I don't think I need to rekindle it. I think my hearth is warm enough. Hey, what's up?
What's up, Dev?
Yeah, I know, right? Normally it's game design. The Muse wants me to paint tonight. Actually, what it is the Muse wanted me to take a break from doing so much design work on all these different books that I've been developing. I think she wants me to take a breath, and the easiest way for me to breathe is to paint, because I don't have to think when I paint. And I've been talking about all that stuff anyway. I mean, despite myself, I've already talked a shitload about the Spelljammer campaign and the color mana system, where that's going. Because I love these things, I'm incredibly excited about them. But for whatever reason, the Muse really just wanted me to work on painting tonight. She would not let me get up off of the chair until I let go of wanting of figuring out what am I supposed to do for design tonight. And she's like, no, just paint. You don't have to think when you paint. Don't think, just paint. I'm like, okay. And now a whole bunch of shit's getting sorted out in my head, and I'm just kind of spilling it out at you guys. There's hardcore rambling going on over here. This is episode 600 of the Eberron art stream. Big 600. 120 weeks of doing this. Goddamn ridiculous. Biggest project I've ever taken on the most intricate and difficult adventures are so much more difficult than game supplements or like character options, feat lists, like DM subsystem mechanics. All that shit is so much easier than building an adventure. Appreciate the support, Def. Thank you. I still think I'll eventually be doing Kickstarters. So I wanted to have a documentation of the commitment I have to completing projects. So I figured if I built something from beginning to end, I'll be able to demonstrate my ability to commit to a project. And it's like when they have those risks, right? You know, what's the risk to this project? None, unless I die. The only risk is my death. Like I've been working on this specific project for over 2 years on stream right now. So if I decide to do a 50-page Kickstarter project, I don't know, about like Squirrel Warriors or whatever the hell it is that kids buy on Kickstarter these days, I'll be able to demonstrate the tenacity and vision to get things done. And it'd just be fun to have folks that back my Kickstarters just to hang out with me in chat, since they'll be the people that help make it happen. But I'm not there yet. Not there yet. I can see it. It's down the road. I think it's on the other side of all these books I want to make. But I tell you what, man, if before the Bastion campaign book gets published, if for whatever reason Wizard of the Coast releases it into Creative Commons, I will publish it on ttrpg, not DMsGuild. And as soon as I finish the current set of books that I want to build, like rebuilding the color mana system that's already on the DMsGuild, the martial powers that complements and goes with it, the Mecha Kaiju book. Those are Spelljammer ideas. So the Spelljammer ideas that we've been working on, I will definitely put those on the DMsGuild. The color mana stuff and the martial powers book, definitely going to put those on the DMsGuild. The Bastion campaign doesn't necessarily have to be on the DMsGuild. I could publish that on DTRPG and make it available to people on Patreon if I wanted to. But it uses the Bastion frame of orders and all the facilities. It uses all of that terminology with the intention that it's supposed to be used with 5.5. So that looks too weird. I'm going to stop doing that. So if they release it in Creative Commons, I am open to go ahead. I'm clear to go ahead and publish anywhere I want those mechanics, but I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to keep those IP in-house as their own thing. I think they've already made everything that they intend to make in the Creative Commons. I think is already there. So I'm not going to hold my breath. So if the Bastion book is done before, and they haven't released Bastions as a Creative Commons concept, then I'll just go ahead and publish on DMsGuild, and that will probably be the last thing I actually publish on DMsGuild. At that point, all the mechanics and stuff that I want to be able to build for like the color mana system and stuff like that, that'll all the core mechanics I need to do, everything for all the different worlds of Magic the Gathering, the base mechanics for that stuff will already be on the DMsGuild at that point. But I've already done books, hyper specific books for Magic the Gathering settings, and they don't sell well. It's too niche of an audience. So it'd be better for me to actually just create like a 3-page PDF on my Patreon like every month, instead of like going 6 months or so and publish a 30-page book every half year on the DMsGuild. So I think I can have a faster turnaround time, more engagement with my audience, and more opportunity to grow. And I'll be able to construct it, like if I wanted to make like a Dimir Mind Spy using the color mana system that we have for 5.5, I can go in and I can build out the Dimir Mind Spy using the mechanics that we have published on DMsGuild, and then just filling out specific subclass options for the Mind Spy, and then a couture selection of spells and powers that can be coded to black and blue mana for the Dimir character. So that would be a lot of fun for me to do for a couple weeks on stream, and then publish it on my Patreon. And then, like, maybe to counter that, I'd build like an Azorius Inquisitor that would be designed to hunt mind spies and to basically find criminals by their thoughts. Sort of Minority Report, and like do a 3 or 5 page spread about that. And then I could blend those two things together and start building the Mind Space campaign of Dimir versus Azorius, in attempting to change how people think in Ravnica as the hidden psychic war that takes place between Dimir and Azorius at all times. So that would be the goal, but that wouldn't be very popular in the DMsGuild at all. So it's a super fucking cool concept, but it doesn't have a broad market anywhere. And the DMsGuild was designed to create a broad marketplace as a go-to hub for people that were interested in cool content for D&D 5e. But that market is being destroyed by lazy art, and people aren't willing to continue investing all of their resources there, because there's a lot of different places that we can get decent 5e content from now, assuming you haven't already moved on to another game. So just when all my cylinders are starting to fire, the zeitgeist is moving away from Dungeons and Dragons into other game systems, as the world is often going to do. But I still love 5e, and I love all the IPs, and I don't see myself walking away from it. So I'm figuring my shit out. Still figuring it out, but we got a lot. We're committed to it. We're going to build out the books that we want to build out to get them off of our bucket list, and that will finally allow me to feel content that I have made an abundance of Dungeons and Dragons content with my artwork and my ideas, my homebrew, and that I've been able to produce it at a professional level. That should allow me to then step off and move into something new, whatever that new thing is going to be. But I suspect maybe mid-2027 is when I'm going to have that transition. I'm looking forward to it. Really, really looking forward to it. I'm still sussing out the publishing content instead of just live streaming it. So I maybe once or twice a year I create a scripted, what's the word I'm looking for? Produced content, recorded content. Thank you. Maybe like twice a year I do recorded content, but I want to up that to once a month. And that's going to be a little bit of a change in my production, my production pipeline for stuff. I'm still trying to figure out the logistics there, but I think it's really a really healthy idea for me to do that. Ironically, at my day job, I work from home, but I have once a month we have a company rally in downtown Seattle to get together, reconnect, have meetings, face-to-face time with each other to get shit organized, HR stuff, blah, blah, blah. Get everything pulled together, and then we disperse again for a month and then come back together again. I love that. I absolutely love that. But that one day a month that I do this, I don't stream in the morning. So what I would love to do is start creating a recorded video every month, and then publish it on the day that I go downtown. So the day that I wouldn't be streaming, I'll have a video rolling already anyway, so I can, maintain that consistency. And I'm still sussing out, like, where am I going to fit the time in to do that? And I've got some initial topics of conversation that I think will be fun and aren't too exhausted by the community already, that they're worth looking at and spending time on and sharing my perspective about them. I'll do a series of building and running campaigns from level 1 to 20. I'll probably do some stuff about. I want to do the color blindness video for sure, about how I pick color and how I evolve my painting abilities, though, despite being colorblind. So I think that'll be a fun video, just to give people a different perspective. Pardon the pun. Just a different way of looking at things. And there we go. And the videos I want to make kind of just build off of content that I produce. Like, I want to do a video about like how I've, like, the alterations I've made to weapon mastery, so that there are things that you can prepare and utilize with various weapons instead of just being able to use one weapon specifically, like that mastery. If you use that sort of a weapon, you can use it. The martial power system created a lot more variety and choice for us using the masteries, so I want to make a video about that. But that also means I want to have the masteries published, so that means I have to get the martial powers book done. So, like, there's a lot of gatekeeping I'm throwing on top of myself about different topics of conversation that I want to have. Like, I want to talk about building a Bastion campaign as a formal video, but I also want to be able to say, during that video, is like, and if you like these ideas, I already have that book published on DMsGuild, link right here, please, blah. So for me to have most of the videos and stuff I love to talk about, I want to have those books published so I can point to where I'm talking about it. And that's going to take time, like a year. So I'm going to have to figure out what some other topics of conversation am I going to want to have if I'm going to start doing this monthly project, like this monthly video project. Because I don't want to, like, I'm already seeing videos like test best spells from, like, best 5 spells from Heroes of Faerun or whatever. It's like it's just the same content slop, It's like you can tell when somebody life is dependent on gaming content because of the amount of videos that come out about every little thing that's introduced into the game. That's not throwing shade. That's just I don't think my perspective on a new spell is so amazing that that's the way that I'm going to end up building any 4 digits worth of followers. I think it's the insights I have about just game philosophy in general and just my take on shit. I think that's probably where my future is going to be at. But that also has a very limited catalog of topics of conversation before I'm either like Vern with Index Card RPG and Vikings and Vern Henkin, thank you. He did game philosophy streams for years, but he suddenly stopped. He's like, I said everything I need to say. I'm not just going to keep doing it. Like, he owns a game shop. He has a hell of a channel with people that follow him when he actually like paints and builds stuff. I would love to evolve into something similar to that, where it's not about me pumping out new content. It's about just showing up and seeing what it is that I've got going on right now. Because there's always the things I'm going to be working on is always going to change, but I always want to share them and do a lot of that work here on stream, just to share the process and again, design and artwork and stuff. It's very lonely work. It's very, very lonely work. So I can have a sense of belonging to something while still being isolated at the same time through streaming like this. So it's really emotionally important for a Phil to be able to stream like this. I would not be able to have spent 3 years working on this if I didn't have a sizable amount of people that would hang out with me and help push me to show up every day and get shit done. Luckily, painting is really easy to do, and I'm always going to be working on a new painting. So if I can build somehow a hybrid audience of D&D enthusiasts that enjoy painting, I have a niche in this place. And it's just, I don't think YouTube, I don't know how to communicate with YouTube properly to get in front of those people. So I have a very, very slow grind in building the channel. But I love that I get to do artwork. I love doing the artwork, and I love that I'm building artwork for books and ideas that I have for gaming. That has just been absolutely fucking fun. Let's do this. Let's connect these things because they're feeling a little too separated. Block those in. Drape that. Get this ooziness going on here, this tar-like drip. This is just Photoshop with a cheap little Intuos Pro. Just using a round hard brush, just generic tool to build this. We have a set of custom brushes. They're on my Patreon. They're free for anyone that wants to grab them through the end of the year. I'll put them behind like a $1 paywall, or like available free to anybody that subscribes to me on Patreon. We'll switch it over to that in the new year. Super fun. I love this. I love doing black ichor, oily ooze, tentacles. We were talking about that this morning. Just love doing tentacle stuff. It's so satisfying making like good curves, like with branches as well. Like good organic shapes that look like they can support themselves, or when they don't, they feel like they have that weight. Just, I love it. I just absolutely love depicting things through paint. It's so much fun. I could see myself getting into digital what's the word what was the word I'm looking for? Models. Sorry, 3D models. I could see myself getting into 3D models, like diorama scenes and stuff like that. I wouldn't. I don't think like I liked ZBrush. It was a little clumsy. It felt to me. I'm sure it's incredibly intuitive when if I spent a ridiculous amount of time in there like I do with Photoshop. But I really felt like if I ever got into VR, I would get into it so that I could do 3D modeling, so that I can manipulate it like clay. I would love to have a VR program with gloves that you could actually simulate hand gestures inside the VR. I'm sure they exist or are close to existing in the market. And I think once they do, I think that will allow us to have like a true clay sculpting program that could then be hardened into 3D models that could be strung up, like rigged up for movement and stuff like that. But for like environments and stuff like that, I would be, if I were to get into modeling and if I were to get into VR, the only two ways the only reason I get into either one of those would be so that I can model in 3R or in VR. 3D modeling in VR. That is, I think that would be fun to do. And I'm not there, but if circumstances in the world change, I could see myself going to that place and enjoying being there. I'm going to do this. Trim this down a little bit. we go. These are really fun to do. These little oozed limbs, they're incredibly satisfying. So far, so good. So what, right?
Hey, man, Defected. Thanks a lot for hanging out, my guy.
I really appreciate it. Thanks for swinging through. I'll catch you in the future at some point. Have a good sleep. There we go. So yeah, we're gonna rebuild the Color Mana books, and some of the artwork we'll be able to keep. Some of it we're going to refurbish, and we're gonna probably have to build a whole bunch of new art. So we're gonna have a bunch of Strixhaven, Theros, and Ravnica artwork. I guess Lorwyn now too, huh? Yeah. And I guess technically Eldraine's available. Well, I don't know about that. I can do Eldraine art. I mean, I can do any kind of art I fucking want. But as far as like game mechanics, like actual settings, like they had the monster manual for like the Eldraine Monsters of Eldraine as a PDF that got published on D&D Beyond, but it wasn't released as a setting, just as monsters. So it's not technically something that we get to build for on DMsGuild. So I'm currently debating for myself here. Do I want to include the Strixhaven, Ravnica, and Theros backgrounds, or do I want to build those out as a separate supplement to bundle in with the Color Mana system? It would basically become a coupon for buying the book, because you buy the two things together, they'll end up being less expensive than if you bought them separately. So I love creating expansions and supplements to the books that I build to just add value to it, because all my shit's, you can read all my books for free. You buy them to support the next book that I want to make, not to get access to the one to see if you like it or not. I hate that. I hate not being able to look through the book to see if it's valuable or not before spending money on it and to realize this actually isn't very good. Like, I would so much rather you read through the book and decide that you don't like it, not have to spend any money, just to not be a dick to making you spend money. And then, recognize that I'm getting returns if the people that actually do like my books buy them. So like that's been incredibly rewarding, and I love that. I don't want that to go away. So when I structure my Patreon and start building stuff on there, I'll make them available probably like a month or two in advance for people that are members, and eventually make them free for other people to see. But there'll be so much more like if I can produce like a document once a month on Patreon, then after 6 months I could have like a 6-month lead time to then have that content come out. So whoever's actually part of the Patreon will have a lot of content being dropped far ahead of time, and will help steer what that content's going to be, obviously. Let's get that fleshed out there, and then let's curve this in. But it'll be a while before I actually start doing that. But it's coming. It's going to happen. Let's see. Let's grab all of this. And so I feel like I need to smudge this out a little bit more back here. I love this 16:9 format so much. God, it is so satisfying to design on this type of a canvas. There's so much space to build out things. Kind of interested in doing one-page dungeons on this format. If I did, though, it'd probably be for Shadow Dark, maybe Cypher or Vagabond. I could probably build something that would work for all three of those systems, honestly. Yeah, like that. God, Cypher is so easy to run as a DM. It's the best. It's just the best game system for DMs. Unfortunately, my players hate it. The best system for DMs is the system that players are willing to play. Is the actual answer. But as far as enjoyment of running the game, I would say Cypher is the most fun system to run of all the games that I've ever ran. It requires the least amount of work and allows for just the most BS shenanigans. It's so great. It's just basically, anything that people want to do, set a difficulty between 1 and 10 and let them try. And the higher level they are, the more likely they are to succeed. Everything works that way. So there's a scale that works like that. Except for, of course, Vagabond. It's a roll under stat system. So, like, if you have an 18 strength, if you roll 18 or below, you'll succeed at the task. And so in that system, you don't even have to have a scale of 1 to 10. There's just consequences to your actions, which is a really good system. Legit, really good. But I haven't ran Vagabond. I have ran a lot of Cypher, every version of D&D, a couple versions of Gamma World, Rifts, a number of Palladium games. Not just Rifts, but a bunch of Palladium stuff like TMNT and blah, blah, blah. Rifts for sure, Robotech, a number of different Palladium games. Let's see. Yeah, decades of like actual D&D from Red Box through 5e. What else? Never ran Call of Cthulhu, though I've done some horror games. I ran Call of Cthulhu using the D20 game engine, not the actual Chaosium. I think it's the people that publish Cthulhu shit. I haven't ran Shadow Dark yet, but I've played a lot of it. But yeah, of everything I've ran, it's a Cypher system was the absolute easiest to run. It's really, the ideas and things don't change. It's just how easy is it for you to process the mechanics of conflict resolution. D&D has always had a fairly complicated set of rules for resolving conflicts, especially during combat. But just in general, 5e, I'm sorry, first 1e, 2e, Shadow Dark, these are all very system light in comparison. But I think the challenge for most games is procedure. Like how do you process the flow of a game when you're actually running a session? How do you process it? And depending on what kind of adventures you're running, that answer is going to be different depending on what you're doing. Where are we at inside here? There we go. Nope, I'm here. Thank you. I'm really comfortable running combat in 5e, for instance. Incredibly comfortable with that. I'm really comfortable with skill challenges in D&D, but like in Cypher system, it's like it could be combat, or they could resolve it a completely different way. The die roll doesn't change. It's just how, like, what's the description, what's the process, that, like, how are you describing you're defeating this enemy, and then from that creates the cascade of improvising how the campaign goes between you and the players. The shenanigans that they come up with to resolve a problem, hitting or missing the dice, and then playing out the logical consequences of the actions that, or maybe the irrational consequences of the actions that they take to build the adventure and then just to spiral. There we go. Was it like 7 o'clock? Oh wow, it's almost 8. Yeah, we'll keep kicking this for a little while. We're going to be back tomorrow morning working on this and talking about whatever it is that comes up. There we go. Yeah. Well, thank you, Timely Timer, for keeping time with me. It's time for me to take another sip of water. Keep that whistle wet. There we go. Blending that in. I think for the Beastmaster companion template. I think the default will be small size creatures, but you can expend additional mana. When you summon your pet, you could expend additional mana to make your pet larger. It'll be, I think, small will be free. Medium will be one mana spent. In addition to just like whenever you come to summon your companion, it's just 1 mana. Spend an extra 1 mana, it can be medium sized. 2 mana for large, 3 mana for huge, 4 mana for gargantuan, which means you wouldn't be able to, and then you wouldn't be able to create gargantuan until 17th level. You could have huge at 13th, large at 9th, medium at 5th, small at 3rd when you get the subclass, and then I think tiny at 13 when you get access to huge would be appropriate. And then we have the kickers, the various kickers that you can choose, that you can select a stack of as when you summon your companion, you can select the menu list of shit that they can do. But then that will also work for the Druid Wild Shaping. I think that's gonna work. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm looking forward to bringing that in. Go. That feels good. Okay, cool. We can leave that. We can let that sit where it is. Let's get back. Let's get back into our tentacled selves. Switch back to our guitar pick. I feel like I'm going to need it now. Here we go. Yeah, let's just curve this out like that. Looks like the new season of The Pit's going to be out on December 1st. That's a great show. That is a great show. If you have not seen The Pit, it's I think it's on Paramount. And it's an emergency room in Pittsburgh. And it's just dealing with the shit of being in an ER room of Pittsburgh. It's like each season is an 8-hour shift. There you go. One day, here's all the shit that's going to happen to you in one day. Enjoy. And then hopefully the second season will be another day. Maybe not necessarily the next day, but another day. Really, really enjoyable show. Super good. Super good show. Do I want that like that? Kind of. But do I really? Let's push this. Let's grab this and push it in a little bit. Let's just do that. And see if I like how that sits. I think that balance is better over here. Subtle, sure, but I think it makes a difference. Oh, there we go. We can have this drip into it a little bit easier. I like that. Boom. 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 Let's push this in. this mass is getting too dense over here without anything interesting going on. Probably gonna have to add some more bodies over here. That'll be fine. We can do that. Like that. Nice. I like how this is sitting. This is really nice. Keep working those, smoothing that in so there's no hard angles other than these drips. But I want to be fluid and more of an ooze than an object. There, like that. Let's do like that. Oh, that looks so cool. Very, very happy. Let's thin that up a little bit here. Get that rotten sort of droop. Nice. Yes. Let's thin that down like that. Oh yeah, that feels really good. I like that. Nice. Okay. Let's see. Let's develop this one out so it feels more natural using the same language. There we go. Let's move that in here.
And smooth this out as well. Hey, we've almost got the perimeter resolved. That's going to be the most. That'll be. Well, it's not going to be the most difficult part. Let's be real. All these skeletons and zombies and shit that are going to be inside of the goop is going to be more difficult than the goop itself. But this has been a fun endeavor. So I am proud of our accomplishments. So for you to survive art and survive large projects in general, you have to break it up in pieces. You can't look at, I've got another 200 pages to go. You have to think, I've got 5 more pages to go in this chapter, and I've only got 7 more chapters to go after that. So you break them up into these cycles, small and larger, and then full cycles until you have the birth through death of the book creation process altogether. You break it up into as small pieces as you can so that you can score victories as often as possible. Those little dopamine hits that you get from accomplishing a job, that emotional patting of yourself on the back, that's actually really crucial to tackling any large projects. The more you can break down a project into small processes that you legitimately have pride in completing, the better off you're going to be in completing whatever the overall the mission, the overall mission is. That's why I like to like Blood Golem episode 4, but it's episode 600 of the stream altogether, right? We've got a small instance of I'm working on this particular illustration, but when that's done, we're going to start a new illustration, and starting that new illustration pushes the entire project further towards completion. So that's the thought process. I mean, it's pretty obvious when you say it, but actually like walking through the thought process, like the psychology of it, it's really important that you're giving yourself those victories, and whatever you can do to trick yourself into creating meaningful victories out of small tasks, you're going to enjoy performing those small tasks more and more often. In message. Ooh, I like this one. That feels pretty good. Some more claws going on over here. There, yeah, like that. That feels good. Build that out like that. I just want to get these curves feeling just natural and nope, not like that. Not like that. Like that. There we go. So far, so good. It's feeling good. Feeling really, really good. Let's thicken this up a little bit down here. We'll just curve over and meet at the bottom. So yeah, we'll finish the silhouette today, and then I'll cut off stream to start working. I've got some more book processing to do. I don't want to necessarily stream that tonight because I'm still organizing stuff and getting things into a flow. But I'll probably show off some of that process on Friday. I'll be gone on Thursday, of course, because it'll be a Thanksgiving holiday here in America, and I'll be spending time with family and friends. But I will be back on Friday morning to continue artwork. I'll be back tomorrow as well, of course, and Wednesday. Thursday off. Friday, I actually don't work on Friday. It's a holiday, expanded holiday for me. So I'll be able to stream art like this for a couple hours, and then maybe at the end of that process, I'll do some, I'll show you some book editing work, or rather page design stuff that we're working on here off screen. Just show off that stuff a little bit just to show you what it is that we're doing. I think that feels realistic. Nice. Let's trim that up. Yeah. There we go. And we'll clean up this. So we're making our way over. This is the only block here that we really have to resolve at this point is in here. So that's nice. And then tomorrow morning we'll come back through and we'll start working on the skeletons more. Getting them all built out inside the muck. Filling out the ooze with their bodies. And then we'll add some, probably on Wednesday, we'll start adding flesh to their skeleton to make them more zombified. For those that need it. And probably finish on Friday. And start in on, maybe have time to start in on the next piece. But this feels like we'll be working on a new piece on Monday, if not Friday. Which is good. We got 7 more illustrations to do after this one. And then that should finish all the illustrations for the book. We'll have some little nitpicky bits, like little vignettes, like little corner texture pieces and shit we gotta do. And I don't know what those are gonna end up being. They could end up being illustrations, but they seem that the spaces are too small for like what feels like a normal illustration. So like a diagram, or maybe like an item illustration, or I don't know what something. But we're getting close to those. We're gonna run out of monsters soon. When we run out of monsters, we move on to the little corner nooks. And once the corner nooks are done, all the illustrations for the book will be done. We do have to build the navigation bar at the bottom and fill that in with all the appropriate icons, but that is well underway. I might get that done on Saturday off screen. Not 100%. Snip that off, curve it around here. Bring that shape in. I've got a kink in my shoulder. It wants to work itself out. Sometimes if I pop my neck right, it'll pop the shoulder along with it. Oh yeah, I'm almost done. It's good. Yeah, it's good. Good. Yeah. All right, save real quick before something weird happens. Because weird things can happen. Let's smooth this out. Good. Almost there. Stay on point. That feels pretty good, but this branching like this feels unnatural, like it's unsupported. So I need to add in more here to support this growth. Now I just feel like the whole thing can be pulled in. So let's pull the whole thing in. Let's do like that. Give it a tilt.
Very yes. There. And let's thicken that up a little bit here. Curve that in like that. That feels pretty good. Smudge that all up. I feel like what I want to do is grab all of this like that. Yeah. Put that all in. There we go. And add this one back in. Nerf. Ooh. I think I like that. Yeah. This is going to work out. Let's take this guy and push him up here. And we'll figure out something in here and down here. We'll figure stuff out. It's coming along. It's coming along. So let's see. I'm pretty happy. It feels a little off balance over here. So I think I want to fill this in a little bit, and then we'll call it stops for the night. But we're going to be back tomorrow morning, and we're going to continue working on this. We'll be back on Wednesday morning. We'll be out on Thursday for the American holiday, and then I'll be back on Friday. Normally I do game design on Mondays and Thursday nights, but this week my muse wanted me to paint, so change the program. This Eberron adventure is getting really close to being done. It might be available on DMsGuild by New Year, if not by like maybe the second week of January, like super soon. Very, very soon. Add that in a little bit right there. There we go. All right, does that add enough volume to thicken it up? Let's merge that down here. It's a little has a little bit of a lean to it. What happens if what does this button do? It actually helped. Let's do this. Let's take this extension here
let's do like that. Let's cut and then paste. And then bring this in a smidge. Yeah, about like that. Let's see if we can make that work. So let's merge this down. We can seal all that stuff. Bring this down here. We'll curve this out into a puddle. Hello, newcomers. It's our 600th episode of creating this adventure. God, we've done all the maps and all the creature tokens. I mean, I'm still doing creature tokens, but we've done a lot of creature tokens and NPC tokens and handouts and all of the page illustrations and the book cover. Tons and tons and tons of assets that we've created for this adventure. It has been goddamn ridiculous, and it's coming to an end. It'll be the end of an epoch. How does that feel? That feels honestly a bit more balanced. Drop these in. Let's bounce to here real quick and let's add a fade in here just to balance out the page a little. This is a masking layer. The color is actually still there. I'm just making it invisible. And then once I've completed the right amount of invisibility, I'll merge it down so it becomes permanent and destroys the information that it hid. I could just leave it as a layer in case I don't want to destroy it, but I could. I don't think I will for now. I think I'll just leave it masked. That feels pretty good. And let's come through here and do that like with this. And then we'll call it for the night. I've made a slew of books on for D&D already that are on the DMsGuild. A lot of them are linked down below. They all have free previews. A ton of my artwork obviously have gone into them. So the free preview allows you to look at, do a page turner by page to look at all the artwork that I've created as well as the ideas that I've created. If you're a D&D enthusiast and the ideas spark excitement for another campaign, I sure appreciate your support with making a purchase. Don't buy it if you don't like it, but if you think it's cool or you want to implement it, certainly buy it. And join my Discord down below. You can ask questions or ask for any kind of assistance or philosophy questions. I'm happy to answer them. Or, if you have any questions here on the sidebar, be welcome to drop in and say hey. That is just about it. There we go. There we go. Right. I'm just going to go ahead and merge that down. Fuck it. Apply mask. There. Cool. Okay, great. So when we come back tomorrow morning, we're going to work on the skeletons and all the little fleshy bits and corpse things that you can see inside this jello mold of an ooze. And then once I'm happy with the positioning of all the bodies, we're going to put limited amounts of zombified flesh over them. And then it'll be done, and we'll move on to the next piece, whatever the next piece is. So, but I'm going to go ahead and cut streams for now, guys. I really appreciate folks that came through and hung out with me. Always appreciate people dropping in and saying, hey, it helps keep me going. That's why I do this, because it's emotionally draining to be an artist, and it's a lonely task. So me being able to have some form of means of reaching out and communicating with people while still putting in the hours and doing the work. YouTube's fantastic like that. So yeah. All right, that's it for now, guys. I am out of here. I will be back tomorrow morning, and I'll have a good night. I will see you on the other side. Cheers.